And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I am Michael Delana. Today I'm talking with Holly Chantal. And well, Holly, first of all, thank you for spending some time with me and being my guest today.
Well, thank you.
You're
You
welcome.
you you act like I'm doing you a favor. It's so nice to be here.
Well, you are doing me a favor because running a podcast is amazing when I have amazing guests. But if you weren't here, it'd be me, doing like this monologue thing, and that would be boring for everybody. So it is a blessing to have you here. So, Holly is a very, very talented lady. She helps people. She helps business owners who hit that ceiling in revenue and growth. And she really helps you bring alignment with your messaging, your offers, your business model, all of that, so that your marketing, your business actually grows. And we're going to dive into this because I know, Holly, a lot of business owners I talk with struggle with a lot of this, and they think the next thing is, TikTok or LinkedIn or whatever. They're just not doing that. And that's really not always the right next step. So before we get there, let's talk about you and how in the world did you get doing what you are doing today?
Mhm. So it's so funny when people ask me that question, I immediately think back to like, why did I start my business? But the reality is, I started my business right out of college. So it's kind of like it's like my career that I've done this entire time for the last 15 years, and anyone else would have started a job. So why am I doing what I'm doing now is kind of a whole other story. So I have three kids. And that has required me to get very efficient in how I work.
Mhm.
And the pandemic, when everything closed down, I was only able to work 2 hours a day in my business if I was lucky. It was kind
Wow.
of like my husband would take a long lunch so that I could, get my client calls in.
Right.
At the time, I also had just had a baby, like had a baby in May of 2020.
Okay.
So all of that combined forced me to really figure out what where to focus my attention in my business. And for those of you wondering, well, what does she do? I I am a specialist in messaging and selling high ticket offers. So I've been, writing website copy, I do website strategy, I do funnels, I do all of those things to sell high ticket offers for service professionals. And uh, to be able to do that in 2 hours a day, if you're lucky, requires a very specific set of priorities. So that kind of forced me to really zero in on my own business. So I wasn't able to do all of my ideas. So I wasn't able to do all of the different marketing trends that come and go as they please. I really had to figure out what works for me, create systems around it, and work those systems. So now that I have 20 hours a week to work, which is still not a lot, it's luxurious. I feel like I can I can do anything. If you can scale back that much, then when you expand to 20 hours, it's a lot. So how I got doing what I'm doing is because the systems that I put into place and the way that I looked at marketing, the way I looked at messaging and my business model are all the things that now I do with my clients. It was kind of an organic evolution into what my next step was with clients. And now that's kind of what I help them do is be paying themselves multiple six figures, working minimal time so that they can focus on other things that they enjoy.
Yeah. Amen on that. Well, and I love that because messaging is one thing that I harp on a lot. I preach it a lot to my audience because it really is, in my opinion, the most important thing you have in marketing. And because
Yeah,
if you
especially, I mean, you help people write books, so you
have
gotta have a message in order for the book
a
to be
message,
interesting and people want to buy it.
that's right. Yeah. But even if you didn't have a book and you're just selling a high ticket offer. Now, and I want to unpack that because so many times when somebody hears high ticket offer, they're thinking immediately, oh, coach or a mastermind group or something. I was like, no, it could be that totally.
Mhm.
It could also be an estate plan that's going to cost $15,000,
Mhm.
right? Or you might be convincing somebody to sign over their $100,000 IRA because you're a financial advisor. It could be all kinds of things. So I don't want my audience to think, "Oh, I don't have a mastermind. I don't have a high ticket off." No, 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 no. This applies to service providers as well. If you're a business owner, what Holly has to say applies to you because she's connecting and aligning your message with your business. And I love that word, Holly, systems. Putting all of those three together. So let's talk a little bit about where you find business owners that you work with. Where are they struggling, and or what are some of the myths maybe that they've believed that are constricting their growth?
So one you kind of just brought up is my industry doesn't support high ticket offers. And I kind of want to point out that high ticket is relative depending on your industry and who you serve. So high ticket for
You want a gallon of milk lately? I mean, that's a high ticket offer, I'm telling
oh my gosh. Don't even get me started.
you. Sorry.
Uh, so in the B2B market, a high ticket offer might be, 60, 70, $100,000. But if you're an attorney, your high ticket is really just more than whoever your competition is, because the way people buy services is different in different industries. So if you are a more of a consumer service, most people are Googling who's closest to me, and they're calling around and they're seeing who is the cheapest that can do the things that I want to do.
Mhm.
And every service professional that I've talked to hates that. They
Yep.
just they believe that their clients are just looking for the cheapest option. And the
Right.
reality is they don't know what they don't know. So in your marketing, if you are able to educate them on why your services are superior, and they don't have to be superior, it might be different, better fit, um, stronger, more focused on getting a specific result or dealing with a specific problem, it allows you to charge more than your competition would because you're no longer being compared by price.
Right.
If someone knows that they can only get the result they want or only follow the process that you have, they're not going to be calling, John Smith, the next
Right.
person in the phone book, dating myself. We don't have phone books anymore. The next line on Google, uh, to see, can they do it cheaper?
Right.
Because they know they're going to be getting a different experience, a different result. It's going to be a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because it's a mindset. I don't want personally. I don't want the person who wants the cheapest book. That's not my client. Right? I want people who want to pay for value and quality. So we just moved. You don't know this. We just moved from Little Rock, Arkansas, to Lexington, Kentucky. And so when I was in Little Rock, I took my car to the same repair shop for 20 years. Okay, the lifetime value of Michael at a car repair shop is lots of money, right? And so we moved to Lexington. Guess what? I'm trying to find a repair shop. I don't know anybody. So I'm Googling, I'm looking around, and I'm going to their websites. I'm reading the copy. Most of it's terrible. You could have lots of work here. But I found two of them that actually had decent wording, different decent messages on their website that gave me a feel for who that company is, how they operate, how they really try to take care of their people, some warranties and things. And I thought, okay, I've got two now that I need to go research. I need to go in and talk with them. And all the rest, it has nothing, Holly, to do with price.
Mhm.
It has everything to do with connection and what does that website message tell me about you and your business. Do you find that, I mean, that won't that work in any industry?
Yes, it really in any industry. If you look at, I'm willing to bet that if I were to look at the same automotive websites you were looking at, they probably all said very similar things,
Yeah.
listed what their services were, what their hours were, and same with service providers. They list, here are my credentials.
Yeah. Oh,
This is the school I went to, and these are my certifications, etc.
yeah.
Here are the services I offer. These are the cases that I deal with, the industries I work with, etc. And maybe
I'm not
packages
yawning
that,
because you're bored.
oh
No.
yeah, I know. I
I'm
mean,
yawning
it's
because of what
boring.
you're saying. Come on.
I know. Listing like what their services are, you know, not necessarily how they work, what the process looks like, what the client should know. in many cases, because some of these industries, it's intimidating for a client to even reach out to you because they don't want to get hoodwinked because they don't know enough about the service or enough about what they should be asking,
Right.
that they have to really actually trust you to even talk to you about your service because they're afraid you might trick them.
That's right. That's
Especially in the automotive industry. That's like my
it totally is. And so you have to vet, but so many times it's we look at our website and I think in the years past it was like, oh, everybody has a website, and that's where all the focus was. But now it's like social media. And we've kind of forgotten about the website. It's like, oh, do I even need a website? I'm telling you, Holly, I've got 2 repair shops here in town that don't have websites. They use
Yeah,
Facebook.
a lot of companies
And,
don't.
well, I said, you don't get my business. I, I
Mhm.
I have this thing that if you don't have enough to have at least a website, you're not the kind of company for me. Now that's just kind of how I do
Right.
things, right? Because Facebook can change their algorithm and kick you off, and now you are a nobody. And so
Mhm.
you got to have some domain there, but it's your messaging wherever you are that connects with me and helps me take that next step. And it's that trust that positions me to not negotiate on price as much. I mean, price is important. If I go to this guy and he's like, well, yeah, we're a car dealer or a car repair shop and we charge $800 an hour. I'm going somewhere else because I don't drive that kind of car, right? But if you're in the ballpark, I'm happy to pay you money if you're going to repair my car well, and I can trust you. And I think that's what the general audience is looking for is I need somebody I can trust that I can connect with. You help business owners do that by
Mhm.
aligning a message with their business strategy so they can get that breakthrough. Then if they want to go through TikTok or LinkedIn or wherever, their marketing is going to work a whole lot better. Is that what you find?
Yes. So by doing the foundational work on messaging, really any marketing strategy that they've already been doing or plan on doing is going to become much more effective because they're not sounding just like everyone else. They're able to describe the value that they offer very clearly, which I think is another big challenge, especially where, a lot of this service personnel I work with, like there's a magic to them. Like they have this just special ability or viewpoint or something that they do that they can't quite quantify. And they'll just say, "Oh, my clients say this, this, and this," or, this is the result I get. And it's like, "Well, how do you get that result?" "I don't know." I actually just had a conversation. She's like, "I coach them." And I was like, "Well, like, duh.
Uh-huh.
That's what they're hiring for. But what are you doing?" And she's like, I don't know. I'm just asking the right questions." And I'm like, "Okay, well, we need to dig into what that is."
Yeah, and I want to stop here because I think that's so common. Business owners of all stripes, myself included, we are too close to what we do in our business to really find that right message. And that's why you, Holly, are so important and so valuable is you have this outside set of eyes that you can ask questions and dig in and go, there it is. That's it. I mean, I do it all day, every day with my clients. They come to me, they're boring as all get out. And I'm like, no, you're not. You've got a story, you're just not telling it. And
I
I
love it when
find
people think they're boring.
I do too, that is so fun. But if you're a business owner and you've hit that ceiling with revenue or profit, your next move is probably not a new campaign. It's probably to pick up the phone or the Zoom link or whatever and connect with Holly because she's going to be able to have this X-ray vision into your business, your life, and go, what is that special thing about you that's going to separate you from everybody else that's uniquely and wonderfully you? That makes all the difference in the world. Is that what you found?
Yes, that's definitely a big piece of it. And you brought up the revenue ceiling part, and I kind of wanted to talk about that. That largely those revenue ceilings have to do with your personal growth. And that might have evolved beyond your current messaging. And that can often be why things stop working, you stop getting as many clients, you start feeling dissatisfied in your work, and your business eventually starts to it starts to suffer, you start to suffer. So yeah, the messaging, just getting back to that can fix revenue ceilings, it can make you feel more satisfied in your work, you can attract better clients. Like there's so many things that just that one piece can
Yeah.
make a huge difference.
Well, it does because when you get the message right, number one, then you can take it to your website, your emails, your social media. I mean, you take that message everywhere. Obviously, your book. You've got to have a book, right?
And your book, I was gonna add that for you. I was adding it in my head.
Thank you. Thank you. Your book, your podcast, but it's your message. And once you have that message, you're really never at a lack of something to say
Right.
because you just tell another story that connects to that message. It's kind of like all the Disney princesses movies and the
Hmm.
Hallmark movies. It's one message told 1,000 different ways, right?
Yep.
And we
Yep.
keep going back. It's like, well, maybe this will be different. No, it's not going to be different.
Yep.
We get tired of the message as long as the audience doesn't get tired of it. But and you hit a good point is sometimes the audience, it's not that they tire of us, that we maybe have milked that market and we hit that ceiling. It's time to maybe go back and try a different target audience, try a tweak on a message, try something else. And I think business owners are hesitant to do that because that's what I built my business on.
Right. And I find that it's not always that you've like overused the message or the audience is tired of it, because there's always going to be new people that can
Well,
learn about you for the first time and your message is brand new to them. It's actually that you start to outgrow it because you have
unpack
been
that. What?
doing your work for so long and you've started finding new, better, like you evolve, and you how you work will evolve, your skill set will evolve, your viewpoint will evolve, like your values change
Got
based
it.
on, I mean, think about before you were a parent versus after you were a parent. Your
Oh,
values changed overnight.
yes.
So that happens in micro events, and your message needs to keep up with that. Otherwise, you do find that it just doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah, that's good. And it's hard to walk through that on your own. You can talk to the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror all day long. They ain't got the answers most of the time. That's why Holly is so important and so valuable because she comes at things from a different perspective and you work with so many different people in industries that you can see something that might work for a coach over here that you could apply to an attorney over here that they would never see that connection.
That's actually really fun. Yeah, to take things from other industries and it's like dentists are not doing this, but it's working really well in this other industry. I bet you should try it.
Absolutely. And lo and behold, most of the time it works because people
Yes.
are people, right? But it's having a voice of reason per se to look at your business and go, okay, first let's get your message right. Let's make sure we're communicating in value systems of your audience, right? They don't care that you went to Harvard or Stanford most of the time. And I don't know what all those letters are behind your name anyway. And so stop that. Talk to me about me and how you helped me and how you helped other people. Be a real person. And oh gosh, we could go down the whole rabbit trail, Holly, on being real instead of posing. But we're not going to do that. We could talk for hours ad nauseum about this, Holly, because this is a hot button for me. And you do such amazing work on messaging. And I love that word alignment, aligning the message with the business and helping that owner grow. So so many times there's those stumbling blocks, those roadblocks in not just revenue, but in growth and in an understanding and in giving somebody a safe place to go where they can have conversations to go, here's what I'm struggling with, Holly. Can you help me? What's it look like to engage with you initially? Is there like a discovery call type thing or whatever? And then do you work on like a 5-year program, a 1-year program, a 3-month program? Just give us generally what's it look like?
So big picture, I like to work with my clients for a year, sometimes end up working 2 years to reach kind of like the first year is kind of like fixing things, getting
Mhm.
things in order. And then the second year is systematizing, automating, getting things really running. But usually where I start with is just looking at what you have in place already. So oftentimes we can find what's wrong immediately by just someone telling me, here's the type of client that I'm looking for. Here's what I'm selling. And then I look at their website and I can tell them exactly, okay, well, this is why you're not attracting that client. It's
Yeah.
because, these turns of phrase. And I realized that we didn't even define messaging in the very beginning. So those of you that have been wondering this whole time, like, what are we talking about? Uh, when I'm talking about messaging, I'm talking about the stories you're sharing, the examples you're using in your marketing, the point of view that you're sharing and why you do things the way you do. Like those are all messaging. And so that's really where we start, is figuring out, okay, well, where are the, I call it the message to market match, where are those off? And then if you want to have me help you with those things, then I ask you, we basically have 3 hours over the course of 2 calls where I'm asking you a ton of nitpicky questions and having you tell me stories of clients, and basically figuring out what is the magic behind what you do, and who is the audience that's going to be the best fit for your services, for your personality, for what you want to do, what you enjoy doing. People often confuse the two. They think, I want to be working with this specific industry because they think that's going to pay the best, not necessarily because that's what they enjoy. And then when I ask them, okay, like, if we were just to take viability off the table, what would you want to do?
Yeah, seriously.
And then we find the message to market match for that, craft your offers, rewrite your website copy. Um, and that's kind of the baseline. And from there, that's where we get into systematizing and creating lead generation machines and like all that like salesy stuff.
Right. It comes
But it's
after the
easy.
message,
Yeah.
though. That's the thing
Yes.
that too many business owners jump to that because that's the shiny object. That's what I want.
Right. Because that's what everyone says is going to get them the clients.
Not. It's not. You got to get the messaging, the stories, because it's not just getting the lead. It's the conversation you have.
Right.
It's the entire process that all comes back to how are you messaging who you are, how you serve, all of that. Holly, how do people take that next step? If they're itch is scratched right now and they're like, okay, I'm tired of jumping at the next thing. Maybe this makes a little bit of sense. What's the best way for somebody just to connect with you?
So my website is hollychantal.com, and I have a free uh, marketing guide on there that you can download. It's called the High Ticket Buyer's Guide. And so, as we've been talking about messaging, there's this decision making process that your prospect goes through before they hire you. And so the high ticket buyer's guide will walk you through what that decision making process looks like and what types of things you need to be saying in your messaging at each stage of that sales cycle, so that they, by the end of it, they're ready to say yes. And this has been proven to drastically shorten the sales cycle, especially for high ticket offers. So, if you're used to having people reach out to you after years of nurturing, or after months of, back and forth, having them sign up within a few days of finding you on Google, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like, that's the power of this decision making process, and it'll tell you exactly what to say on your website, in your marketing, etc.
Love it. High ticket buyer's guide that's available at her website, hollychantal.com. I'm going to have that in the show notes. So if you're listening on your phone or whatever in your drive, you can go to the show notes, click the link, go to her website, download the resource she just told you, the high ticket buyer's guide, because that's going to help you understand the mind and the psyche of your buyer, your audience, your prospect, so that they'll become a client, which is going to help you drive more revenue regardless of what you do, because you're going to be working on your message, which is most important anyway. So go get that. I'm going to grab that, Holly, stick that in the show notes so that people can hear you, go get it, and hopefully connect with you and see how you can help them craft and align their messaging with their business growth, and just really at the end of the night, serve more people and have more fun doing it. Thank you for spending some time with me and for crafting that download, but just for all the brilliance you bring to the table. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I really have enjoyed the chat.
You are welcome. Oh, it's always a joy. Thanks for listening to Experts Speak. Tune in again next week when we'll have another fantastic guest ready for you.